Hello everyone, I'm Brian, welcome back, let's go ahead and continue.
So, Sadhguru, you are so reverent and you are so cherished. Do you ever get a superiority complex?
Right now, yes. See, the question is not about superiority complex, inferiority complex, poverty complex or wealthy complex. That you have a complex is a serious problem, isn't it? Whatever kind it is. What a complex means is, you have assumed something about yourself and you have concretized that assumption. In such a way, you make a bloody fool of yourself wherever you go. Do I look like that? Hello? Do I look like I'm making a bloody fool of myself with you? No. So,
You really wanted that
no
answer from them.
complex of any kind.
But then our confidence fluctuates every day. So, what do you have to say about that?
Because I don't have any confidence about anything, I just have clarity. People think I have knowledge. No, my head is empty. That's why to make it look little substantial, I have a turban. It's totally empty always. But I have clarity. Clarity means what? You see things the way they are. Knowledge means what? You have fixed information about everything. If things have changed, you will not see it the way it is. That's as good as being blind. See, people think owls are blind. It's not true. Their vision is far more sensitive than yours. But because of sunlight, they're blinded because it's too much. Suppose, what is the power of your glasses?
Around 3.4.
3. Let's say we will put 10. If you put 10, if you look at these lights, you'll feel dazzled. That's what is happening to an owl in the day. When light goes down, he sees very clearly. Not because he's blind, because his eyes are super sensitive. So, it's important that you bring clarity to your life, not knowledge, because knowledge is conclusions that you gather. Knowledge is okay when you're trying to do something physical, material in the world, but not with life.
Yeah, I just wanted to… and he cleared it up there, like knowledge is very helpful for things that are set in stone, you could say set in stone, meaning that are factual, 1 + 1 = 2. A car is meant for driving, the things in life that are very set for… A pencil is for writing, etc., etc., but not necessarily things that are, you could say, abstract or subjective. Knowledge is great for objective stuff, I guess that's what he's trying to say, whereas life itself is very subjective, and you can't exactly always use knowledge in that. I think it can help you, but if you don't see, if you can't read how things are, and you're being blinded by knowledge, it could deter you as well.
Is it true what you thought was absolute at the age of 12, today is not true? Yes or no? Are you sure that whatever you think is this is it right now, will be this is it in another 3 years' time?
Of course not.
You know that, so you know you're wrong. Yes or no?
Yes.
So you know anyway you're wrong, so why assert the wrong things? Well, right now we are wrong, at least let's manage with little more conscious. If you know you're wrong, you will walk carefully, isn't it? Hello? But you think you're absolutely correct, then you will do stupid things and you blunder around the world. If you know you're not seeing properly, will you walk carefully or no? If I ask you to walk through a dark room, suppose we turn off all the lights and close it down, everything, pitch dark, if I ask you to walk, suddenly will you become super alert and conscious as to how you walk? But when the lights are on, you're just going unconsciously, bumping into everybody. So if you learn to walk every moment, like there are no lights and you're looking at everything absolutely carefully, then what you see clearly, you go through it. What you don't see clearly, you hesitate. Some places you take a little bit of chance. But if you are just confident, you will blunder through life. We don't know where you will get in and what you will get trapped into. Most people are trapped into their professions, their family situations, their social situations in such a way, they all became like this. Yes, already I'm seeing not just older people, youth have become like this. What will happen to me at the end of my life? What will happen to me at the end of my life? I already revealed the secret, you will die. Hello? But Sadhguru, if this happens, what to do? If that happens, what to do? All those things will happen. It's not that everything will happen in your life the way you like it. Things will happen in the way you don't like it. It once happened, Shankaran Pillai got fired from his job simply because he asked a question, smoking or non-smoking? How can you get fired for asking such a simple question? Smoking or non-smoking? He asked, and he got fired. Because what he was supposed to ask was cremation or burial. Not getting it. So, many times what you do, thinking I'm right, may be irrelevant to the situation in which you exist. So the most important aspect of your life is you're relevant, not right. You're just relevant. To the existing situation, you're relevant. I am right, I am right, I am right. This is confidence. You being right, nobody cares. All the idiots who think they're right, nobody wants to listen to them, nobody wants to be around them, isn't it? People who always think, I'm right, you want to be around them? No, the important thing is you're relevant to the situation in which you exist. If you have to bring relevance into your life, you must extinguish your confidence and bring clarity. To develop clarity, there are many systems. See, to develop your muscle, there are systems, isn't it? Similarly, to develop clarity, there are many systems. Unfortunately, our education system is dulling clarity in so many ways. Some of the research studies in the university shows that if a child goes to kindergarten and goes through 20 years of education, I'm sorry, I'm saying this is an educational institution, 20 years of education and comes out, let's say, with a PhD, they are saying 70% of their intelligence is irrevocably destroyed. So you have a knowledgeable idiot. What do you do with this? Well, you can impress people by throwing information, but this whole game of impressing people, throwing this information and that information around is all going to go because that Google lady is better than any of these idiots. Hello? It's really amazing. I am just traveling to wherever.
Real quick, that's an interesting thing. I can't remember what year this was done in, but in my job, I hear the software, excuse me, I hear the software department talking about how they can use AI to program things, like write the correct syntax for certain programs. It's really kind of crazy. So I'm wondering if you can use AI to write an entire program. I mean, probably not so much right now, but it's something that was never, I don't think was ever done before a few years ago, but now capable of writing a very good, at least like paragraphs, like statements in programming, if statements, while loop statements, or statements and stuff like that. And they're just one piece at a time so far. Could you imagine when AI can write entire programs now? And essentially what Sadhguru is talking about here is how AI eventually is going to make smart people irrelevant. I mean, it's gonna make us all dumb too. But I guess, like Sadhguru's trying to point out, it's like you need to learn how to live life. The important thing.
Let's say I'm flying to United States or Africa or somewhere, I just ask, what is the morning temperature in Entebbe? I'm landing there. Without batting an eyelid, in 2 seconds, she tells me it's 14 degrees centigrade and by afternoon it's 18 degrees centigrade, by evening it's again 12 degrees centigrade. Who could ever say this? Hello? She may not be perfectly right, but she's almost there. So, people who are carrying a basket of information on their head and feeling superior, I want you to understand this in this country and everywhere else in the world. In not the previous but the previous generation, somebody who could read a book was seen godlike because everybody else was illiterate. And people thrived simply because they can read the Gita or the Bible or something else. They thrived simply because they can read. But once everybody can read, we are ignoring those people completely. Yes or no? Hello? You're falling asleep, I think. This is not a commerce class.
Well, yes, he is right in the fact that, we know basic stuff, but to get into like the really, really deep sciences or maths, no one really wants to get into that. To know how to do open heart surgery or brain surgery, to those who knows how to do chemical biology or something like, or chemical biology, chemistry or biology, like really deep into it, studying fungus or different kinds of animals, people are not willing to learn that anymore. So, the extent of most people is just basic math, basic biology, basic stuff, basic science. Even basic science is advanced. Because I'm sure there are like base, base and acids, where if you have a type of chemical burn, you don't use water, you use, was it vinegar or is it vinegar? Was it vinegar? Anyway, it was shown in a movie, Fight Club. And they had a chemical burn, and pouring water wasn't helping at all, but they poured vinegar, which was, I believe, a medicine acid. I forgot what they put. They put something on there to counteract. Essentially, I think it was an acid on the hands, so to put a base. If it was a base burning, then they put acid in the hand to counteract it to make it neutral, chemically neutral. But yeah, people, we don't even know. I think that's kind of basic, but to understand where these things are in terms of acid and bases, not many people know too much. So, yes, you can read books, but people are not willing to go so deep into the sciences or the maths to know so much about it. We just understand the basics, and even that's a struggle nowadays, with, at least it seems like, in America.
So, people who are carrying information and feeling superior, they will all be made into nothing in the next 15 to 20 years' time. Once artificial intelligence becomes all over the place, information will mean nothing because it'll be available everywhere. By then, you must be competent to do something beyond information. This is why I'm with you.
Alright, so now before we open the session for our audience to ask you questions, we have some really popular questions from various social media platforms.
Wow.
Now,
So the people who could not join here, so they have sent us the questions through various social media platforms, and the first question, I'll read it out. Sadhguru, you mentioned that you
Who is this? Anonymous person, or… I will not answer anonymous questions. They must at least say, this is my name.
we didn't have their names.
Okay. Okay.
So, but we'll definitely get back to you.
I believe you made up the question and it's okay.
John Doe's asked, for those who don't know, John Doe is a name given to someone who we don't know the name to. John Doe number 2, the second, and John Doe the third. Just go down the line.
No, that's what I'll assume, because you're not telling me the name. Please.
Jane Doe's for the females.
Sadhguru, you mentioned that you can do 14 different activities at a given moment. So, we all are very curious to know how can we achieve such prowess over both body and mind?
Oh, whoever said this, I didn't say anything like that. Anyway, do you have a liver?
Yes, I do.
Functioning?
Yes.
I hope so.
Do you know how many levels of activity it's doing right now? What the liver is doing is far more complex than what your brains are doing right now. Do you know this? Yes or no?
Really?
A brainless liver, if it can do so many things, a brained Pranit or whatever, Pranit, how many things? No, I was only talking about not activity per se. Yes, activity is also possible. So you must understand this. On a round planet which is spinning right now, hello? Is it? Are you on a round planet? Spinning? Most people don't understand this unless, they get sozzled out with something or they get some ailment that either a few drops more or a few drops less between the years. Certainly you see, planet is round. Do you know how complex an activity it is for a human being to walk at a certain latitude on a round planet which is spinning and which has magnetic forces working upon you all the time? It's an extremely complex process. You ask a child who is, let's say, 1 year of age, he knows how complex it is. Have you seen? But the moment you learn to walk, you assume that it's nothing, walking is nothing and you're sick of walking, you want to drive a car, you want to ride a motorcycle. But walking is such a complex process, not 14. 1,000 different functions, your knees and your brains and the fluids in your body, all of them are doing all the time. If only you could conduct these things consciously, you would be doing 1,000 things. Anyway, you're doing it. But if you could conduct this consciously, you would do 1,000 things at a time, isn't it? So I was only talking about different channels of mind, which you don't have to actually conduct, you just have to initiate and leave. It will go on. For you to think about your neighborhood girl, do you have to initiate action every time? No. If she's pretty, I'm saying. Once you look at her, it just goes on by itself, isn't it? Why? Because you're drawn to it. If you're drawn to 10 different things at the same time, mind is capable of creating 10 different channels and keep it running. So, there is an entire process. Right now, I think one Jain monk, somebody, a 16, 17-year-old boy, you heard of him, he's in the newspapers. How many things can he do? Anyway, there are people in small towns in Tamil Nadu who are called Shatavadanis. That means they can do 100 things at the same time. A complex mathematical problem, a sensation, a music, some raga, this, that, 100 things at the same time, because that is how complex human mind is. This complexity you can use either to drive yourself crazy with unbridled thought and emotion, or if you harness it, it can do things that nobody has imagined possible. It can do things in a miraculous way. You can manifest things in a phenomenal way if the necessary training goes. See, is it not very clear to you? If somebody is walking there, if you just look at them, how they're walking, you can make out whether they're physically fit or not. Yes or no? Body has been worked upon, you can see it or no, just by the walk. Similarly, whether the mind has been worked upon or not, whether your energies have been worked upon or not, is something that's visible. Most people may not see, but if you pay attention, you will see. Right now, most human beings, the problem is we gave you a super computer. The most sophisticated machine on this planet is this human mechanism, isn't it so? I'm asking you, have you read the user's manual? Hello? No. When are you going to read it? On the last day? When I see this ridiculous stuff, people reading Gita when people are dying, I say, you're reading the user's manual on the last day, what's the point? If you buy a phone, should you read the user's manual in the first 3 days or after 3 years when you want to get rid of the phone? Huh? You must read it in the first 3 days. So I'm not asking you to read a scripture. Well, this is a living scripture. Should you not become competent to read this scripture, understand what is the nature of this, what is the full potential of it and explore this? Because this life is not about this or that. This life is about this. Yes or no? There is no choice about this. It is just that you can enslave this life to something else and think it's about that. But actually it's about this, isn't it so? Are you okay with this? You think right now your life is about education. No, your life is about this. You want this one educated, you want this one to do well, you want this one to experience love, you want this one to experience pleasure, you want this one to do all this. All the other things are only attendant things. This is the real thing, isn't it? So if this is the real thing, does this deserve some amount of attention? Some amount of attention means not standing in front of the mirror and attending to your skin endlessly. Should you not pay attention to every dimension of what this human being is made of? What makes this life tick? And how? If you understand what makes it tick, you can make it roar. If you make it roar, why 14 things? You can do many more.
Alright, I think we could maybe go one more. Yeah, we'll do one more, but I want to make a little bit of a comment on what he said there. I was thinking my mind was, always racing, thinking of different things. And he just said, if you understand how it ticks, maybe you can do more things. I was like, maybe my mind's doing that. Getting an ego boost there. No, my mind now is pretty much blank. Not too many racing going on anymore. Don't get me wrong, like, if there's something I need to think about, my mind does think of many things. Think of different perspectives, think of different mindsets, think of different potentialities and possibilities, think of many different outcomes and many different possible outcomes. My mind automatically does that. And I help it along sometimes, especially if I really want to think about it. And there's something else he said that I also wanted to comment on. Understanding your body. Now, I do try to do that, and mostly in terms of when my body feels or acts a certain way, I try to understand, okay, what does that mean? So, again, like when I got COVID the first time, I knew it was different. I knew me being sick was different, because I'd never felt that before. And I was like, I think I got COVID, and I was right. I think second time I caught it, I think I caught it 3 times. It got weaker and weaker as each time it progressed. And maybe even caught it a 4th, I don't know. If I did, it didn't last. But I just knew at least the first and second time it was different. Because I pay attention to my body. Perhaps not exactly what Sadhguru's talking about, although it is, I think, something that Sadhguru's talking about. I think he wants you to pay attention to more things about your body, to understand your body so you can do a lot more. I am trying to understand my body, but it's more along the lines of like sickness and stuff, and maybe physical things. But I do try to do that. I don't know if anyone else does, or is that? I don't think that's. Does someone out there? Is there someone out there who pay attention to when you get sick to see, am I getting sick? Is this a different kind of sickness? Is this the same kind of sickness? You know, kind of deal. And maybe even certain odd pains. Like that's the only thing I really notice for me. It's just that when I get sick, I pay attention to it. Many times when I get home, I feel like I'm gonna get sick. I feel the symptoms and everything, the headache, the whatever else, and then I wake up, it's gone. That happens majority of the time. But yes, anyways, I was just wondering if anyone else pays attention to their body as well.
Guru, the next question which we have, I'll just read it out for you. It is believed that Srinivasa Ramanujam could write mathematical equation as is he had access to the whole universe. He also says that Goddess dictates him those mathematical ideas. How can I reach to that state? That is the question.
First you must find a goddess, huh? You interested in this question? Hello? I want to hear whatever I hear loudly, I'll go by that.
He woke up the crowd.
No's coming late, yes came strong. All of you, do you use a phone? Why? Why do you use a phone? Why did we first of all make a telephone?
To communicate.
Because we can speak. If we had no ability to speak, would we manufacture a microphone, a telephone, any of these things? Hello? Why did we come up with a bicycle? Because we can walk, but we wanted to walk faster, so we ran. We ran and we knew there's a limit. We wanted to go faster than that, so we came up with a bicycle. Suppose we were made like a tree, rooted to one place, would we have invented a bicycle? No. So a telephone, a telescope, a microscope, bicycle, automobiles, airplanes, everything what?
Extensions of what we can do.
What faculties we already have, we want to enhance that. We have not come up with any machine for which we had no faculty and suddenly we came up with something because we don't even know what those things are. Yes? The faculties that we do not have, we have no way to perceive that whether it exists or it doesn't exist. Only faculties that we have, we are trying to take it far. So in this effort, we came up with many machines. All machines here are only enhancing our existing faculties. They have not come up with any absolutely new faculty. In the same context, right from ancient times in this culture, we came up with machines not made of material, not made of mechanical process, but an energetic process. What does a machine with an energetic process mean? See, suppose somebody is dead. You seen any dead people? Hello? Where did you see? I never saw.
In the graveyard.
You saw dead people or dead bodies? Dead body means what? Let us say no accident happened, no murder happened, no nothing happened, or let's say somebody just suffocated and died. If somebody suffocated and died, heart is in the right, heart is doing well, maybe not beating but it's fit, liver, kidney, dam, everything is all okay. Only thing is, the person is not alive. All the mechanical parts are okay. Only thing is, that life energy is missing. So this is also an energy machine on one level, isn't it so? Yes or no? This is also an energy machine, on top of it we put mechanical parts to it. Even if all the mechanical parts are intact, if there is no energy, this will not function. So from looking deep inside, we understood we could create an energetic machine without mechanical parts, because if mechanical parts come, they need a certain level of maintenance and servicing and works. But if you just create an energy machine, it will simply function day and night. Suppose your motorcycle or your car or whatever you use, let's say your phone was just an energy machine without mechanical parts. See, it's happening. From such a big phone, it's slowly becoming smaller. With less and less mechanical parts, it's becoming more and more efficient. Why do you think? Slowly it is moving towards a space where it is becoming more energetic than mechanical, isn't it so? Do you remember old James Bond movies? Such a big phone. It was looking like a just born baby. But today, it's become this much, as they're expecting in another probably 10–15 years, your phone can be just imprinted on your hand. Simply like this, you can speak. Or you don't even have to do this. If you simply do that, it will say what you wanted to say. So from being mechanical, now we are going towards energy-based machine. From a huge earth mover to a computer, this is the big difference, that it's more energetic and less mechanical. So we created energy machines, which in this culture we called as deities, or the English word is deity. Generally we call them as murtis, that means a form. A form which has a certain ability to do certain things, energetic forms. So some different forms are like windows to the existence, you could open up different dimensions. All this is forgotten, made into absolute nonsense today in the form of superstitions, but otherwise, it was clearly prescribed. Because today people get identified with this or that, they think their gods are about belonging to them. No, these deities, God is the wrong word for this, these are deities or murtis, these were created with specific purpose. If you want intelligence, you go to one kind of deity. If you have fear problems, you go to another kind of deity. You have love issues, you go to another kind of deity. You have prosperity issues, you go to another kind of deity. Like this, they made energetic forms, which you must learn to use. These are not places of prayer. These are not places of worship, these are places where you learn how to use the machine for your benefit. They were built in various forms and various capacities. They were also connected to people's genetic information, which we called as Kuladaivas, where only for that genetic pool it will work. This is a very complex process. So Ramanujam comes from the south. Why I'm specially mentioning the south is, these things were there everywhere in the country, but the northern belt of this nation has taken too many invasions, too much disruption. South south of Vindhyas, we've been very well protected. Even today we maintain many things. We never had major disruptions as the north had. Because of this, certain sciences are still alive and active, which could produce a Ramanujam. Ramanujan spoke about black holes nearly 100 years ago or more than 100 years ago, when there was no concept of black holes. He made mathematics for black holes when there was no concept of black holes. Science always progresses like this, first the concept, then the theory, and then the mathematics. But he made the mathematics first, before there was a concept, before there was a theory. And when they asked him, he was sitting on his deathbed and simply pouring out mathematics, notebooks and notebooks of mathematics, simply pouring out. People asked, where is this coming from? What is this? He said, "My Devi bleeds mathematics."
So now we
Alright, so that was kind of interesting right there. The person he was talking about in his deathbed, it says, "My Devi spills out mathematics, it bleeds mathematics." There's another video that I watched. It was with Sadhguru, actually. You know, it's an Englishman. And he was talking about how this guy was spilling out mathematics. I'm guessing they're the same person. And that's very interesting. I mean, I don't have any experience with that. And I do want to kind of confirm that now, actually. Because it's kind of strange that, you know, was he the first person to, I guess, put mathematics to a black hole? Or to, I guess, theory or hypothesize on black holes, I guess? The reason why I say hypothesize, because in terms of the science, it's a hypothesis until it's proven true. And I suppose, technically speaking, if you do if the math is correct, then that's technically true. If the math is correct, obviously. Again, I don't know if it is or isn't. It's the first time ever hearing, second time hearing about this guy, because the other video I watched was that Guru was talking with the Englishman, and he was talking about this again. I think it's the same person because it says he was drawing up a whole bunch of mathematical equations, and they don't know where he's getting them from. And then clearly, looks like this is the story where he says, "My Devi bleeds." It's really weird to say "my Devi bleeds" math. But I kind of want to fact check that. Not fact check, but I want to read that story because I'm kind of curious now. I heard it the first time, it's like, that's interesting. Then him saying it this time, it's like, okay. I just want to see about the black hole part. That's kind of crazy. If, I guess people in the past, you know, I don't know about, say, predicting the future, but how do I say this? I mean, math is kind of crazy, actually, to have the math correct on the black hole. I definitely want to see that. Now, about predicting the future, that is questionable, because Nostradamus, I believe, when 9/11 happened, you can read one of the statements that made it seem like that was predicting 9/11. But at the same time, from what I remember online, Nostradamus also made like so many different predictions. So, you know, you throw enough out there, eventually some of them is going to stick. That's the problem with predictions. If all your predictions that you make comes true and are pretty precise, that's saying something. But if you're just throwing a whole bunch out there and hoping some will stick, that's a bit different story. But anyways, I think that's going to be the end of this part, and there's going to be just one more part after this, because it looks like there's a question on the floor. Again, a lot of this stuff is a little bit, I guess, I won't say out of my league, but nothing too much I could say about it, honestly. Hopefully we'll hear some pretty interesting questions in the audience, instead of the 2 questions from the social media. So if you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, and thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.